Then, after silence, a still blissful cry. Oh, beautiful body of the incarnate Word, thy thoughts are mine. I have spoken with thy voice. My will is thine. What thou hast chosen, I choose. All thou hast asked, I give to earth and men. Now will I do in thee my marvelous works. O Son Word, thou shalt raise the earth's soul to height and bring down God into the lives of men, summing in thy single soul my mystic world. I will possess in thee my universe. The universe find all I am in thee. Who hunts and seizes me, my captive goes. This shalt thou henceforth learn from thy heart's beat. Forever love, O beautiful slave of God, O vessel of my rapture's widening news, become my core of universal love. Descend to life with him thy heart desire. O Sativa, O luminous Savitri, I send you forth above beneath the stars, a dual power of God in an ignorant world. In a hedged creation, shut from limitless self, bringing down God to the insentient glow, lifting earth's being to immortality. There is an infinite truth, an absolute power. The Spirit's mightiness shall cast off its mask. Its greatness shall be felt, shaping the world's course. It shall be seen in its own veilless beam, a star rising from the inconscious night, a sun climbing to supernature's peaks.
Good morning. So we're continuing in Book 11, Book of Everlasting Day. And we're coming to the culmination of the poem. Savitri has been conversing with this Supreme Being, and he has been asking her, inviting her to ascend into his divine heavens with Satyavan, into this transcendent bliss, but it's described in different ways also as a vast emptiness. And she has refused. And finally, he grants her wish to descend back to earth with Satyavan. And so that's coming now. And first he begins, we've just started kind of his long discourse where he grants Savitri's aspiration, her wish. And then he begins by telling her that now I will do through you kind of my work on earth. And so he begins by speaking of how he is going to use Savitri as an instrument. But I think when we read this, we can also take it to, at least to some degree, as what he is saying that he is going to do for us, for humanity, when this transformation comes. So he's addressing her directly, but at least parts of it we can take in a wider sense, I think. But then afterwards, he's going to follow these words directed towards Savitri more generally, and he's going to describe, he's going to, let's say, prophesize what is going to happen on earth. So in the last reading that we had on page 698, we finished about halfway down, and we discussed at some length this last passage at the top, first half of the page. So, and there he begins this long discourse, and he says that he agrees he is going to grant what she wants, that actually he was speaking through her. It is his will that she was giving voice to in argument, in a sense, to him. And he's saying, since you've refused my offer, refused my nameless calm, and turned from my termless peace, in which is expunged the visage of space, and the shape of time is lost. And that she has kind of turned away from happy extinction of thy separate self in my uncompanioned, alone eternity. So he's saying, okay, I'm not going to insist that you do this, Now I will lay my hands upon thy soul of flame. I lay my hands upon thy heart of love. I yoke thee to my power of work in time. So he's going to now utilize her as his instrument to do his work in the world, in time. So he's going to continue a little bit in this same vein. But Suresh, could we start on this end?
You started it also that he said, thy thoughts are mine, I have spoken with thy voice. And for me came up the question, what is his process that she has to go over the struggle, but let's say opposing, and what is the sense of this opposing? I mean, in a way, also it makes somebody strong to face the difficulty of life.
Yeah.
This is the question not to, I would say, go straight forward, but to challenge in a heavy way and even in a totally opposite way.
Yeah, the question concerns what is the reason that this supreme being keeps or challenging Savitri to ascend into this transcendent realm and leave behind the earth. And perhaps it's because it's an offering that has been given also to mankind. There was a comment last time that we each soul is given this choice to ascend into this transcendent world. And it's it's clearly a great experience and realization to enter into some kind of eternal bliss, or he describes it in different ways, also a great power that is self-contained and a great awareness and a great infinity of being. I mean, these are not kind of small boons that are being offered, and they are offered perhaps to all of us. But there is also something else, a different choice that we can make, and that is to participate in this divinized life on earth, to create that divine life here in matter, in time and space. And at the same time, it was a choice that was often taken to ascend into this transcendent realm in the tradition of Indian spirituality. So he's giving it full play here and suggesting or offering an alternative, which is this divine life. Okay, B?
But wouldn't you say that it's the internal dialogue that every soul must go through in order to position your dharma in the world? Because there is always that tendency, forget about it. It's too much. I want to relax. I want to go to peace. Let things happen. But there's a sense too in the soul. No, there is each one has a calling that they have to face and do in creation, not outside of creation.
Mhm.
So because we're in both worlds.
Right.
So where are you going to put your emphasis? In the spiritual world or the material world? Then you get the realization that there's one world.
Mm.
And to work in one world, you have to work in both at the same time. And I think that's what Auroville is trying to get people to sense how you have to do that, because that's been his philosophy all along. You can't just, go into the spirit, and that's the old traditional way to get out of life.
Mm.
No, we have to get into life. Well, not less.
Right. So I think that's right. You're kind of saying, in other words, kind of the same point, that we have that choice of leaving things behind. And it's, as you emphasize, that may often seem like a very attractive choice, given all the turmoil and pain that can be associated with embracing the world. But to embrace the world and to actually transform it into something divine is a much kind of greater opportunity, but also a much more difficult one. So this is the choice that Savitri has made, and now he is going to take her into his hand and utilize her for his work in the world. So let's begin, Torina. So
Because thou hast obeyed my timeless will, because thou hast
So we have beginning, again, one of these kind of extended sentences with this kind of first clause repeated in different forms. Because thou hast obeyed my timeless will, because thou hast chosen to share earth's struggle and fate, and leaned in pity over earthbound men, and turned aside to help and yearn to save. And now it changes. Because of that, I bind by thy heart's passion thy heart to mine, and lay my splendid yoke upon thy soul. So because she has chosen to remain tied to the world and to uplift the world, now he is going to utilize her to play out his will for the earth. And then now he will continue explaining what he is going to do with her. And this is kind of what I was referring to. In a sense, I think it's also what the divine will do for us if we turn towards this same choice of accepting life and accepting to transform life. So what will he do? I will fasten thy nature with my cords of strength, subdue to my delight thy spirit's limbs, and make thee a vivid knot of all my bliss, and build in thee my proud and crystal home. So he's going to bring divine delight into her body, into her life.
What is a shaft? I forgot.
A shaft of light is like a beam of light or a beam of power. Thy days shall be my shafts of power and light, thy nights my starry mysteries of joy. And all my clouds lie tangled in thy hair, and all my springtides merry in thy mouth. These springtides, one definition is spring times, and another is the high tides at the new and full moons. Yeah, spring tides. So these kind of high tides at certain points of the moon's cycle. A shaft, it's like if you would see kind of a beam of light coming down through the clouds from the sun, that would be like a shaft of light. But then he addresses her more directly here and emphasizes her role kind of in the upliftment of mankind. O sunward, thou shalt raise the earth's soul to light and bring down God into the lives of men. And then it shifts a little and describes what he is going to do on earth. Earth shall be my work chamber and my house, my garden of life, to plant the seed divine. And then a kind of prophetic statement, when all thy work in human time is done, the mind of earth shall be a home of light, the life of earth, a tree growing towards heaven, the body of earth, a tabernacle of God. A tabernacle is a house of worship or temple. And we see how he brings in mind, life, and body into that transformation. So let's continue. Helmut.
Ignorance, men shall be lit with the eternal's ray, and the glory of my sun lift in their thoughts, and feel in their hearts the sweetness of my love, and in their acts my power's miraculous drive. My will shall be the meaning of their days, living for me, by me, in me, they shall live. In the heart of my creation's mystery, I will enact the drama of thy soul, inscribe the long romance of thee and me. I will pursue thee across the centuries. Thou shalt be hunted through the world by love, naked of ignorance, protecting veil, and without covert for my radiant gods. No shape shall screen thee from my divine desire. Nowhere shalt thou escape my living eyes. In the nudity of thy discovered self, in a bare identity with all that is, disrobed of thy covering of humanity, divested of the dense veil of human thoughts, made one with every mind and body and heart, made one with all nature and with self and God, summing in thy single soul my mystic world, I will possess in thee my universe. The universe find all I am in thee.
Thank you. It's a very beautiful and powerful description of the divine life that Sri Aurobindo foresees for the earth and for humanity. So he speaks here of mankind in general, awakened from the mortal's ignorance. Men shall be lit with the eternal's ray, and the glory of my sun lift in their thoughts, and feel in their hearts the sweetness of my love, and in their acts my power's miraculous drive. So we see again the mind and the heart and the actions all divinized, all expressing the divine directly through them. My will shall be the meaning of their days, living for me, by me, in me, they shall live. It's a beautiful expression of the living in the divine, feeling the divine, informing, driving one's own life and actions, being surrounded continually by the divine, embraced by the divine. And then he speaks of this long romance of thee and me, the divine being and his Shakti, his expression in force and form. So this whole creation is this romance between this divine being and his outer expression, his Shakti. And he's going to play that drama out, that romance out across the centuries in the world. And he'll be, or she will be hunted. His forms, his beings that are manifested, will be hunted through the world by love, naked of ignorance's protecting veil. Now they will all understand their oneness with this Supreme Being. No shape shall screen thee from my divine desire. Nowhere shalt thou escape my living eyes. Everywhere he will be present, informing, expressing himself through all forms. And then he describes kind of some aspects of this realization, the spiritual, supramental realization. in the nudity of thy discovered self, in a bare identity with all that is, disrobed of thy covering of humanity, divested of the dense veil of human thought, and then he brings in this cosmic consciousness, made one with every mind and body and heart, made one with all nature and with self and God, summing in thy single soul my mystic world. I will possess in thee my universe. The universe find all I am in thee. Somehow, these lines strike me as very kind of deep and profound, but something like it is through the Divine Mother, the Divine Shakti, that he takes hold of the universe by kind of realizing this supramental realization in her. Through that realization, he will take possession of his universe. Right. Right. I think these are all part of the supramental realization. The supramental includes this cosmic consciousness as part of it. But through because she is identified with all beings, all things in the universe. She has that cosmic realization. So when he comes into her and brings that force and that light into her, it's brought into the world at the same time. So I don't know that we can fully grasp all of the mystery of that, but
It's the Mother Earth phenomenon that is already there, but the work to be done is the growing in time. So we have this seed tree growing, and then when it's done, he says, all these things will be there. But it's already done in this realization of what it is, because the earth itself as matter, it's only coming from spirit. So that's, I think it's our transformation effect is to come together with both of it in ourselves. In other words, the transformation is not about going somewhere or something new or something like that. But the transformation is in consciousness and in awareness of what already is.
Okay, so I think you're suggesting that this is, in a sense, already done, and the only thing left is for us to kind of remove this veil of ignorance in which we live so that we can see it. Something like that.
He says that the veil of the mind and body are no longer there because he, she, the mother has done it.
Right.
We also want this predators be born already. In a sense, it is already there. But we have to want to express the divine. And so we
yeah, it's already there. That's what he is saying.
What does work mean? That doesn't mean creating it.
Okay.
It's the inner work.
Yeah. Right. So there's something to be done, but maybe it's just a very slight shift of consciousness, or maybe it's a lot of struggle and pain. I mean, it may depend on the person.
But also the gods, the gods.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue. Oh, you had one more question. What does soul mean?
Yeah, in some guys, soul.
Well, I think that it brings in the individual aspect of the divine, because he's kind of contrasting it with this cosmic consciousness in which she's one with all nature, with God, with everything, with every being. But at the same time, this is happening within one particular being, Savitri. So that individuality is not lost. It's not, doesn't disappear in that universality or in that transcendence. It remains, but she's summing all of those experiences in her individual being, just as each of us are called to realize that transcendent, which is above all, beyond all, and the cosmic consciousness. We also have to sum that in our own individual being, in our own individual realization. So I think that's it. She also has a soul, just like each of us. She's an individual being too. Okay, we'll continue.
Thou shalt bear all things, that all things may change. Thou shalt fill all with my splendor and my bliss. Thou shalt meet all with thy transmuting soul. Assailed by my infinitudes above, and quivering in immensities below, pursued by me through my mind's wall-less vast, oceanic with the surges of my life, a swimmer lost between two leaping seas, by my outer pains and inner sweetnesses, finding my joy in my opposite mysteries, thou shalt respond to me from every nerve. A vision shall compel thy coursing breath, thy heart shall drive thee on the wheel of works, thy mind shall urge thee through the flames of thought, to meet me in the abyss and on the heights, to feel me in the tempest and the calm, and love me in the noble and the vile, in beautiful things and terrible desire. The pains of hell shall be to thee my kiss. The flowers of heaven persuade thee with my touch. My fiercest mask shall my attractions bring. Music shall find thee in the voice of swords. Beauty pursue thee through the core of flame.
Thank you. Let's pause. Now, this passage is curious because it suggests all of these dualities of joy and suffering and pain, and that these things do not necessarily disappear in the realization, at least here for Savitri, that she will see in all of those things, all of those oppositions, all of those fierce masks of the divine, will see the divine behind all of them. And perhaps in that seeing and realization of the divine behind, they change somehow their character, but they seem perhaps still to be there.
I feel the first line, those shall bear or think that all things may change, can experience their daily life. And stepping back, looking at the situation which is needs a solution, and stepping back, and then I feel that something new comes.
Right. So yes, it brings to mind that idea of when there are difficulties in our life, difficult people or difficult situations, we can step back from them in a quietude of our deeper self and bear them. And then also, typically when we are able to do that, they also change their character. Right.
He's saying to Savitri, Savitri has that power and capacity to ban. She's the only one who can ban the earth and heaven, the situation, like the mother, our mother. She bore everything on herself, to her father's change of herself. She has the capacity to bear the suffering of the world.
Yeah, in that sense, this statement goes beyond kind of that normal stepping back that we all need to do. And here he's also referring kind of more directly to Savitri and her work for the earth, or let's say to the Divine Mother, and what she had to bear. And I don't know, it brings to mind also this kind of suffering that Mother bore towards the end of her life, which I think also, summed up in her body all the pain and suffering of the world in some sense, in some occult sense. She was taking that all on and transmuting it somehow.
No, I'm not referring that I'm going to change the situation. Rather that really, when you step back, we are there, and then we change. That is the moment you step back, then she is working through the situation.
So the divine is there when we step back, and the divine can also change the outer circumstances.
I think that implies the stepping back is transcending the mind, because often we have either things like truth or the abyss.
Right.
Here he says the abyss also. See, it's not truth or the abyss, it's both. So how to get the mind to embrace both?
Right.
That's the thing.
Right.
To understand what we call the hell or the heaven is also part of the one.
Right.
That's the big,
right. Exactly.
That he's trying to get, the beautiful thing in the terrible desire. How we put that together.
Right. So that's the key for the supramental consciousness, to marry these two opposites that the mind divides, that are not really divided, ultimately.
It brings to me in this that analogy between was trying to transform his pain, physical pain, to Ananda, seeing that the Ananda was the truth of pain. So that was one of the things that he was trying to do. He is working on the charity. And
okay. So yes, that even excruciating physical pain can be changed, can be transmuted into bliss. So that was something Sri Aurobindo did on this kind of small scale when he broke his leg. And so that's possible because of their ultimate oneness, and how this suffering is, in a sense, some kind of shadow or reflection of the divine bliss.
Is it the case that suffering is the biggest source of that transmutation to bliss? Is it implying that to feel bliss, the first step, the lineage brings us to suffering?
In some sense, yeah, it's an interesting question of whether the first step towards this divine bliss is to accept the pain and suffering of the world. And in a sense, I think maybe that's the case. For that fuller experience that the divine being is kind of, or that Savitri is embracing. So he's saying, you have not turned away from the suffering of the earth, and therefore I lay my hands upon you to change and uplift the earth with its suffering into divine bliss. So in some sense, I think that's correct. We have to kind of accept life with all its struggles and pains before we can really change it and transform it.
So we can look from the cosmic side, the soul comes into the incarnation, comes into matter, into the ignorance, and that very act prior, with the prior knowledge, is neglected. So the soul accepts to do this job, this dharma. And so we are faced with that. But if that soul is nurtured by Mother Earth in the proper way, you have good parents, you have all this, you don't hit the same kind of suffering. So it's a question of evolution. That's where the work comes in. So the work is with the people that are here to change this thing into this supramental world. So that's what I think the Mother's always talking about. We're preparing for the supramental, the superman, the supermind, and that's what Auroville is for. To prepare that so that we can do that, but we're not there yet, obviously. So the problem is not what's happening, the problem is us.
Well, yeah, there's, you bring in a lot of different issues, but yeah, in some sense, like you said earlier, the realization is done. Mother has done it. She's brought in this supramental power and realization even into the body and into the earth. And so now we individual souls have to realize that. And that process of evolution on Earth does not kind of disappear. So, and some people are more ahead than others in this, or souls are sort of more ahead in transmuting, let's say, that the nature into a divinized nature. And so for some, it's maybe just the shift in consciousness. For others, it's still struggling through life and gaining mastery over these forces that are there.
Always has an effect in matter. See, that's why we can't separate. So if somebody shifts their consciousness, they have to. Otherwise, they haven't shifted their consciousness. Right. It's just an idea.
Yeah.
From the interested in another also said when she gives blessings for even for what they know for marriage, because sometimes she said it's not for the marriage to work well, or it's not for the succeed in the ordinary life. It's for spiritual living. So it may appear like failure or suffering or struggle with the ordinary perspective. But she's saying the marriage might break, my blessings are it's for spiritual growth, because the soul growth, as she gives the blessings.
So, yeah. So Mother's blessings are for that development of the soul. Not necessarily just to alleviate the pain of this particular issue.
I think we can still be one of the only reason of existence. All enemies in life. Develops the spirit.
So, okay. So let's continue.
Thou shalt know me in the rolling of the spheres, and cross me in the atoms of the world. The wheeling forces of my universe shall cry to thee the summons of my name. Delight shall drop down from my nectarous moon. My fragrance seize thee in the jasmine's snare. My eyes shall look upon thee from the sun. mirror of nature's secret spirit made. Thou shalt reflect my hidden heart of joy. Thou shalt drink down my sweetness unalloyed in my pure lotus cup of starry brim. My dreadful hands laid on thy bosom shall force thy being bathed in fiercest longing streams. Thou shalt discover the one and quivering note, and cry the harp of all my melodies, and roll my foaming wave in seas of love.
Thank you. Let's pause. So it continues here, just saying how he's going to be utilizing Savitri, but also it seems to me that it also pertains to humanity the in its divinized iteration that is to come. So that everywhere we see the divine behind all the movements, all the actions of the world, of life. And we will experience the divine's bliss in those contacts. But also, there's one troubling short sentence where he says, "My dreadful hands laid on thy bosom shall force thy being bathed in fiercest longing streams." So while all the rest of the passage is kind of quite nice and comforting, this one suggests that also, even through this kind of fiercest desire, that he is going to be there in her. It could be that, yeah.
It means the pressure is on.
Yeah. The pressure is on, yeah.
But it's the pressure of love.
Isn't it like actual physics where, you know how pressure of the layers of earth condenses and becomes like fire, crystal, and diamonds, like literally this pressure from the physical metaphor.
Right. Yeah, I think that's probably a good, maybe not only metaphor, but reflection in physical matter of this principle of the pressure of the higher planes on the lower planes to release that which is within them.
And it's spiritual light works when the photon jumps its orbit. That's when you see and that's when experience happens.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there are always these kind of parallels of experience on these different levels.
Are so strong. See, the jasmine smell
Mm.
and the Buddhist cup of the stars, all of these things are enough to provoke those feelings.
Mm.
And that's why this is mantra and transformative.
So he's going to continue on these darker aspects in the next passage. We'll continue. We lost Suresh. The switch on?
Even my disaster's clutch shall be to thee the ordeal of my rapture's contrary shape. In pain's self shall smile on thee my secret face. Thou shalt bear my ruthless beauty unabridged amid the world's intolerable wrongs, trampled by the violent misdeeds of time. Cry out to the ecstasy of my rapture's touch. All beings shall be to thy life my emissaries, drawn to me on the bosom of thy friend, compelled to meet me in thy enemy's eyes. My creatures shall demand me from thy heart. Thou shalt not drink from any brother's soul. Thou shalt not shrink from any brother's soul. Thou shalt be attracted helplessly to all. Men seeing thee shall feel my hands of joy. In sorrow's pangs feel steps of the world's delight. Their life experience its tumultuous shock in the mutual craving of two opposites. Hearts touched by thy love shall answer to my call. Discover the ancient music of the spheres in the revealing accents of thy voice, and nearer draw to me, because thou art. Enamored of thy spirit's loveliness, they shall embrace my body in thy soul. Hear in thy life the beauty of my love. Know the thrilled bliss with which I made the worlds.
Thank you. Perhaps when we think of the divine life, what it will be like, we can think of Mother's experience, sitting there in the ashram, in her room, and still, so she has this supramental consciousness, and even her body is participating in that. But she's still kind of assailed by, suffering. But then she looks out at the world and it's still full of strife and war and all of these things. And people, in their ignorance, are coming to her and pulling at her for, some sort of relief from their own pains. And she can't refuse. She's drawn helplessly to all. She accepts all these beings in their own struggles and pains, and does what she can to uplift them and to bring them out of that. So maybe at first, at least, this divine life will be in a few individuals scattered around the world. And the world will perhaps continue to be on fire, to be full of ignorant beings and suffering and all these things. And these kind of individual torches of light will be there as a kind of a beacon for others to look up to and to see and to be influenced by. But it may not, at least for a long time, erase all of that pain and suffering that the others are experiencing. And to some extent, at least that pain and suffering is witnessed by this being, whether it participates in that pain in the same way, perhaps not, but it sees that struggle of human beings in the world. It sees the wrongs that continue to be perpetrated by others. So I think that's partly what Sri Aurobindo is expressing here. Can we continue? One more.
All that thou hast shall be for other bliss. All that thou art shall to my hands belong. I will pour delight from thee as from a jar. I will fill thee a my chariot thought the way. I will use thee as my squad and as my lyre. I will play on thee my minstrelsy of thought. And when thou art vibrant with all justice, and when thou livest one spirit with all things, then will I spray thee not my living fires, but make thee a charmed for my timeless force. My hidden presence led thee unknowing on. From thy beginning in earth's voiceless bosom, through life and pain and time and will and death, through outer shock and inner silence, along the mystic roads of space and time, to the experience which all nature bids. Who hunts and sees me, my captive grow, this shalt thou henceforth learn from thy heart beats. For ever love, O beautiful slave of God. O loss of my rapture, bending nose, become my code of universe love. The spirit, sent by the force to delight on creation, oneness sweet and fathomless, complete to embrace my merit unity, and all my endless from the divine soul. O mind, grow full of the eternal peace. O world, cry out of immortal eternity. Build is the golden tower, the flame child born.
Thank you. Pause. So he begins by telling how he is going to use Savitri as he takes her into hand to help in the transmutation of the world. I will pour delight from thee as from a jar. I will whirl thee as my chariot through the ways. I will use thee as my sword and as my lyre. I will play on thee my minstrelsies of thought. So he's going to use her both as his sword and as his lyre, both as a musical instrument and as a sword to cleave through the falsehoods of the world. And when thou art vibrant with all ecstasy, and when thou livest one spirit with all things, then will I spare thee not my living fires, but make thee a channel for my timeless force. So it's not going to utilize her only for joy and bliss and light delights, but he's going to use her like a sword and as a channel for his timeless force. And already he's done that. He says, my hidden presence led thee unknowing on from thy beginning in earth's voiceless bosom, through life and pain and time and will and death, through outer shocks and inner silences, along the mystic roads of space and time, to the experience which all nature hides. So he's been using her throughout the world's evolution and development, leading it towards that higher divine experience which all nature hides within itself. And then he says, who hunts and seizes me, my captive grows. This shalt thou henceforth learn from thy heartbeats. Forever love, O beautiful slave of God. This slave of God is, I think he speaks of this in the record of yoga, but it's kind of a highest form of Ananda, to be just kind of absolutely given to the divine, a slave of God, used for whatever purpose. And then, O lasso of my rapture's widening noose, become my cord of universal love. So through her, as she gathers others around her, attracted to her, he captures them in his noose. He captures others who are attracted to the divine. They become captive to him, caught in his cord of universal love. And she will be compelled to love, to embrace all beings, embrace my myriad unities and all my endless forms and divine souls. He will capture all through her. O mind, grow full of the eternal peace. O word, cry out the immortal litany. Built is the golden tower, the flame child born. Excuse me? The flame child is the psychic being. That may well be. But the golden tower, perhaps the creation has been built up to the supramental planes. And the flame child is born. It may be the psychic, but it may be a kind of a supramentalized psychic or something.
Because of course the golden child is her, and us, and the golden tower is the path that's been built by her, by the divine will, and all of that. So it's God is all. I think that's the conversation of the alchemy from the lead to the blue. But the golden tower and the golden child.
Yeah, he brings it all together in this beautiful statement.
Richard House has written a very beautiful article about that.
Oh.
He believed that it was the highest form of Dasya. So there is the Bhakti, which
Dasya being
love.
Highest form of love. Yeah, this beautiful slave of God, it's Sri Aurobindo speaks of it in Record of Yoga. Oh, in synthesis also. Okay, that's all for today. We'll leave it there.
who hunts and seizes me, my captive gold. This shalt thou henceforth learn from thy heart's beat. Forever love, O beautiful slave of God, O vessel of my rapture's widening news, become my core of universal love.
Thanks to Sri Aurobindo.